After a 48-7 loss to Ohio State on Saturday, it was back to work on Tuesday for the Nebraska football team as they get ready for a Northwestern team that they lost a disappointing game to in 2018.
We're ready to bounce back. Short memory, putting Ohio State in the past. We're on to Northwestern. They're going to be a good team. They're disciplined. They play hard, and they played close with Wisconsin last week, so it's going to be a challenge for us, but we're ready to hit it head on.
You know, Northwestern's a team that I think everybody always respects in this league because they're never going to beat themselves. They're a disciplined team. They're a tough team. They're going to be where they're supposed to be, and for the most part, they operate what the coaches want them to do. And so, I think you just have to be sound in what you do. You have to be sound in your coverage. You can't be pressing. You can't be overextending yourself trying to make a play because they'll make you pay. They're smart enough to adjust to what everybody's doing, but I think it's a really good football team that doesn't beat themselves a lot.
Northwestern traditionally has been a team that doesn't beat themselves, right? They don't have penalties. They don't do a lot of turnovers for the most part traditionally. Those guys are disciplined in what they do, so we have to force them to try to drive the field and open up more opportunities for them to make a mistake and potentially turn the football over. So
they're really just fundamentally sound. They play fundamentally sound offense and defense, both sides of the ball. They hold the ball for a long time, just time of possession. They try to slow our offense down, keep us off the field. They don't make mistakes. They're not flashy or anything. But yeah, if you make mistakes, you beat yourself, you're not going to be able to hang with them.
Yeah, I was about to say I lost 2 in overtime to Northwestern. But at the end of the day, yeah, it's important. It's just one that we want to get. At the end of the day, this is our Super Bowl. We can't. Last week was a big disappointment, and this week we got to go out there and put some more dominant football on film and just show everybody that we can bounce back and that we're still good and that we still can do everything that we plan on doing for the season and all that good stuff. So at the end of the day, we just want to move forward and just continue to improve through the week and just go out there on Saturday and just put a good brand of Husky football on film.
And now that the dust has settled since Nebraska's loss to Ohio State, just looking back at that game, a lot of compliments towards this Buckeye team as they move on towards this 2019 season.
Yeah, probably one of the best teams that I've seen in a long time. I think those guys are probably one of the best teams in the country for sure. From top to bottom, I think, from the offensive line to the running backs to the quarterback makes great decisions, very poised in the pocket. There was even times where we tried to flush him out there, and he was still being able to get his eyes downfield and throw a completed pass. They got really good wide receivers that win one-on-one. So, on the flip side, their defense is really good too. So I think from every phase of the game, they're really solid.
They're a fantastic football team. They've got really good football players, but the bottom line is when you're playing a team like that, you have to execute, and we did not execute. Take nothing away from them. They're a really good football team, but we did not execute on Saturday. Who knows what it could have been? Who knows what it could have been? But they executed and we didn't.
Yeah, at the end of the day, they did what they did easily. At the end of the day, I feel like I was too fresh at the end of the game. The score didn't reflect how I felt. It's one of them things like what happened. Which goes to show that they really was operating and getting their way all night. So that's really an issue. Like I say, watching film, we see the problem, and at the end of the day, we got to fix them. We got to continue to execute, continue to develop going into this week, so we can make sure that we put a better brand on the film this week.
As for this game with Northwestern on Saturday, the Wildcats are struggling offensively as they're trying to break in a new quarterback. They have not really found their stride, so field position is going to be really important this week.
Well, I think we go into it in every game with the field position it's going to be of the utmost importance. I said it again last week, and I'll say it again this week. That's one of the things that we have to be able to try to control and manipulate on special teams as much as we can. Being able to get the ball returned to a certain yardage or being able to pin a team deep is going to be critical for us.
Yeah, for sure. Just as far as whatever field position we get put in as a defense, or just as far as keeping field position for the offense, it's definitely going to be important in a game like this, especially the type of offense they run.
We seem to be like a very similar team than when I was at last year. Try to take care of the football, move the ball, try to win the field position, and make the other team make mistakes, and try to keep it a close game and win it that way. So we got to be very smart in terms of being able to make sure that we execute the defense, do our 1/11th, and then make sure that we don't give up any big explosive plays. So if we make them earn it and continue to drive down the field, then we got a good chance of getting off the field and getting the ball back to the quarterback.
And despite the fact Northwestern is 1-3, there's still a lot of respect here for the defending Big Ten West champions.
At the end of the day, we coming off an L, so we ain't looking at nobody no certain type of way. We respecting them guys, we preparing for them guys, and we plan on going out there and just playing our best football, Like I say, we all disappointed. We all want to get a win in our belt, practicing, just going through the week, just going about your business. It's just better when you're a winner, When you're coming off an L and stuff like that, it's a little bit more muggy, a little bit more cloudy. You want to just hurry up and get this next win under your belt, so that's the plan. Just get to Saturday and get a win.
The kicker position still remains a mystery for Nebraska as well as they head into Game 6 here in 2019.
It's about status quo. It's the same thing as it's been all year, so we're just still rolling through with it.
We saw junior college defensive tackle Keem Green on the field for the first time this past Saturday, and there's a plan in place on how Nebraska wants to use him the remainder of the way.
Yeah, we have a plan in terms of where we want to use him, especially against big teams. We're going to face them down the line that are physical, downhill running teams, so we want to get them prepped for that. So we have a plan in terms of when we're going to use him. I'm trying to make sure that I get him enough 11 on 11 reps against the good guys. So he's always starting. When we go tempo and we start our practice, I'm always throwing him out with the first team so that he can get live reps with those guys and get used to it. So we definitely have a plan in place for him. But he's progressing, along very well for me.
How did he look Saturday in your opinion?
He did good for his first game. I was really surprised in terms of, how he was able to hold his own. He played the fourth quarter and they were kind of running the clock down a little bit, so he didn't get as much reps as I was hoping he'd be able to get in the fourth quarter. But I thought he held his own, and there's some good things in there in the game.
And finally, looking back on that game a year ago, a lot of guys still remember that as it was a turning point in the season that started the Huskers off 0-6, but then fueled the way for their 4-2 finish.
Yeah, I mean, you in the offseason, you watch that one a bunch, and how could we have called it differently? How could we have executed differently? How could we have managed the clock differently? So many situations went into the end of that football game. I think you analyze that one a lot, not just for the getting ready for Northwestern this year, but also, all the games just as a coaching staff,
Yeah, I was back here. That last drive was just heartbreaking, and we've had some tough losses, but I'd say that was probably one of the toughest ones I've seen since I've been here.
Does it get brought up at all?
Not really. I mean, we just know that they're going to be ready to play. They're a tough team, and we can't underestimate them. They're going to give us their all, and we've got to be ready to play.
The Huskers will get back to work here on Wednesday for another full padded practice. Reporting with the Nebraska football team in Lincoln, I'm Sean Callahan of HuskerOnline.com.